In the beginning of the epilogue, we see Flemeth messing with an Eluvian. Eluvians have, from the beginning of Dragon Age Origins, if you played a Dalish elf warden, been hinted at being extremely important, but we still know so little about them.
I think something moved inside the mirror. Look, don't you see it? There it is again. Can you feel that? I think it knows we're here. I just need to take a closer look. It's showing me places. I can see some kind of city. Underground. And there's a great blackness. It saw me. Help! I can't look away!
In the Witch Hunt DLC for Dragon Age Origins, we spend its entirety searching for Morrigan, who has taken a Dalish book that has information about the ancient Eluvians.
I assume you know what this is. I have gone to great lengths to find and activate this portal. Give me reason and I use it, and you will not be able to follow. To another place, beyond this world and beyond the Fade. But this portal can only be used once more. Achieving even this much was difficult.
Meryl, our Dalish companion in Dragon Age 2, also has a lot of talk about Eluvians. She even gets kicked out of her clan for the sake of trying to restore a broken one.
Something seems off about your mirror. Shouldn't it reflect the room?
No. It's not that sort of mirror. I've spent the last few years restoring this. One of my clan found it in the Brazilian forest, we think. Poor Tamlin. We never found him. Just the shattered pieces of the Eluvian.
What's an Eluvian?
Long ago, the elves had a kingdom. An empire that covered Thedas. And every city had an Eluvian. The mirrors let them communicate across their empire. But I don't know how exactly. My people have lost so much. We know almost nothing of the days before Al.
In Inquisition, Morrigan takes us through our first Eluvian to a land that is neither the real world nor the Fade. It is what she calls the crossroads, the place where all Eluvians meet.
If this place once had a name, it has long been lost. I call it the crossroads, a place where all Eluvians join, wherever they might be.
This place is extraordinary. How could this even exist?
Who can say? Formed from the fabric of time and space, perhaps. The ancient elves left no roads, only ruins hidden in far-flung corners. This is how they traveled between them. As you can see, most of the mirrors are dark, broken, corrupted, or unusable. As for the rest, a few can be opened from this side, but only a few. Not all the mirrors lead back to our world. The ancients were nothing if not resourceful.
If they don't lead back to our world, then...
Places between, like this one. I can describe it no better. For it, one cannot remain in between forever.
What do you mean, a few can be opened from this side?
Some of the Eluvians have been left unlocked, like doors accidentally left ajar. All others are closed. They can be opened only from beyond.
Opened how?
With a key.
I suppose you have such a key.
The key can be many things. Each Eluvian is different. I have knowledge as well as power. Often that is enough. This is not the Fade, but it is very close. Someone with enough power could tear down the ancient barriers.
In the book, The Masked Empire by Patrick Weeks, Briala, the elf that we meet in the Winter Palace, spends a few days traveling in the crossroads and ends up holding the key and the password, which is in fen'harel's name, to unlocking all Eluvians, which seems like a really huge deal to me and a huge amount of power that was never mentioned, so I'm sure we'll hear more about this in future games, books, or DLC. It was one of the Forgotten Ones, Imshale, who provided Briala with this power. If a Forgotten One has the power to unlock Eluvians and give others the power to unlock Eluvians, could other deities, like the old gods, or maybe the elven gods, also have the power to unlock them? Is that why Morrigan wanted the old god's soul? There's so many things to consider. If you have read the book, you will know that in the epilogue, Briala's extremely mysterious elf mentor named Felasen meets his end in the Fade by an unknown figure who expected him to retrieve the password to use those Eluvians. The elf had told many stories about the Dread Wolf, and he was even named after one of the stories about him. He seemed to be in service to the figure who killed him, and many fans have speculated that this figure could have been fen'harel. If it was fen'harel who killed him, did he want access to the Eluvian network? And why? I mean, it seems that Solas had no real problem arriving at the crossroads, where the epilogue appears to take place. From the book, we know that the crossroads can look and feel different for different races and can respond differently to different people, which could be why it looks a lot different in the epilogue than it did when we were there with Morrigan. So, could that mean that Solas might be in contact with Briala? Did they just pretend not to know each other? After Halam Sharal, Solas seems to get a little bit uncharacteristically defensive if you apologize to him about Briala's failed plan.
How I missed court intrigue.
You missed court intrigue? When were you at court?
Oh, well, never directly, of course. An elven apostate is rarely invited to speak with empresses and kings. But from the Fade, I have watched dynasties form and empires grow, especially after helping her neutralize Briala.
Briala brought it on herself, Solas. I did what had to be done.
All right. Why would I disapprove of... Oh, because we're both elves. I'm sorry, I was confused. I do not consider myself to have much in common with the elves. It's the best way to help them. As for the elves of Orlais, Briala did what she could. She was an admirable woman, even if her gambit failed.
If she were more admirable, she wouldn't have failed.
The world at large will judge her on success or failure alone. We who knew her, even briefly, have the luxury of looking deeper, to judge her strengths and flaws, instead of just seeing a pair of pointed ears.
Could the body we see as Solas be that elf Felasen from the Masked Empire, hosting the essence of fen'harel in the same way that the body of Flemeth hosts Mythals? That elf did have Dalish tattoos, but we know from Solas's romance that altering Valisleen is no problem for him. Or is Solas just an ancient elf, maybe fen'harel's original body, and he just managed to slip into Skyhold when no one was looking and use Morrigan's Eluvian? If so, how did he unlock it? Or does he have access to another Eluvian we don't know of? There's so many questions, and I'm really interested to hear your thoughts.